And greetings and salutations, everybody. Technicals Tinkers here, checking in on the 3D print operation for today. I own a business. I got interested in 3D printing. I said, I can make $1 million with this. So I'm doing it here at home, trying to just start it up, see what the different areas of 3D printing are, trying a lot of different things to see what sticks, make some sales, and then hopefully I can scale it up and put it in my big warehouse. I'm a total novice. This is only exhibition, not instructional. If you just want to follow along in my day-to-day with these wonderful machines, see me learning, see me floundering, let me know what you think in the comments below, then press subscribe and join. So what am I working on today? Well, over here on Cobra 4, I have 4 Cobra 2 Maxes, and I have them for the big build plate, because a lot of people come in like, you should just get Bamboos, those are terrible printers. I agree they are, but they got a real big build plate, because 256 millimeter square build plate, that's not big enough. People think that's big, it's not big enough. I need the big stuff, and that's why I also have an Orange Storm Giga 2 weeks, ships in 2 weeks, so I'm very excited for that. Hopefully we can do some of these big prints, because if you've been following the channel, you know I focus on kind of these big prints. They're art prints. I prefer functional prints, but I'm trying a little bit of everything. I got the middle section of the Cult Python there. Going to start the other sections and try to hopefully get a working model here. This is a thing for a character model, which I don't talk about anymore. I'm still doing that down here on the P1P. Over here, having so much trouble. My genius idea to burn up spools of filament on these rolling trays that I give away for free in real life, not here online. It's really not working out, but hey, at least it's like, you know, unusable filament. Because I kept getting lifting issues over here on Cobra 2. I'm going to take that plate off and give it a spray with Dawn. 9 out of 10 people have said just spray it, wash it with Dawn dish soap. Some people saying painter's tape or spray it with hairspray. These PEI build sheets, I really don't want to start putting glue and hairspray on these because it gets messy and tacky. I'd really like to keep I'd rather buy a new build plate before I start putting glue and hairspray on things. So I'm going to give it a wash, see if that resolves it. Over here on the Soval, it's always something. For those rolling trays, you print these little lids. Let's see if I got a lid. I got a lid over here, because I printed a bunch of them in black. All right, so the rolling trays get these little lids, and the rolling trays are for like herbal smoking whatnots. So it's got these little lids that go on once you grind up your rosemary or your sage or whatever, and you put it inside, this lid keeps it in. So I was like, okay, I have a partial spool of this silk gold PLA. I'll just print a whole plate of these lids, and then when the spool runs out, I'll put in the next silk PLA. I got this silver silk, and then I got this here to finish it out, and that way they'll be all multicolored and pretty, and people like that stuff and whatnot. So I came back, and I'm like, why is it not working? It says finish print. Well, it says retract now, because this is like, I don't know how many times this has happened to me. Tell me, has this happened to you a lot? It gets to the end of the spool, and this little hook here, I already cut it off, but this little hook here gets caught right in there, right that little hole that holds it in the middle. And I'm sitting there yanking it, and it's not giving up. And so the printer couldn't feed, and it went through thinking it was printing the whole time. And so this print is just completely wasted. A lot of, you know, kind of like odd issues. Maybe the universe is telling me not to print these rolling trays or something. I don't know. I'm not going to chalk that up to anything other than just, you know, happenstance, because, you know, I don't know that I could have really prevented that from happening. You know, it's supposed to release from the end of the spool. So not a big deal. It was, you know, kind of just, I'm burning up filament here anyway. It's just kind of like, you know, aggravating because I want to get on to the next thing. All this bamboo filament. I got 20 kilos of Elegoo Black PLA Plus. I need like a better storage solution because I don't really have enough room here. And if the Orange Storm Giga is coming in, I got to figure something out. So probably do that here in the next few days. Maybe take this bin of like open spools of filament and find a home for it and then start storing everything here. I was thinking about putting the A1 down here with this one and then just having this area as like a, you know, put junk, you know, to get junky or whatnot. All right, and so taking a look here, I pulled off the this Cult Python, the middle part, so the drum goes here, obviously the barrel goes here, bang, bang. So nice big model, certainly in line with kind of how the other pew-pews that I have are. I took off the barrel earlier today. This one was the one that failed. If you saw, you got up here, the organic supports, and it failed. But the top, this part came out pretty decently clean. I mean, it's rough, but The drum's right here, so that'll hide everything. And I made a plug that goes in, so when I have the drum in place, I put in the plug and glue it in, and I'll kind of hold it all steady. So this came out pretty good. I'm impressed. So I'm gonna probably get the dogs, right? Must be feeding time. And so overall, as an inaugural big print, coming out pretty good. Also, I appreciate all the suggestions on the 3D scanning app, because I'm considering getting a 3D scanner. A lot of you guys chiming in with what ones you use, or the iPhone apps that you use for it. I have a 16 Pro Max, so I've got, you know, the current gen big Pro Max iPhone, so it should have a good LiDAR in it. So I did try Scaniverse and Polycam. I was trying to use it on this because I've long wanted to like scan this and print it. I got this 8 years ago. It's like a steampunk bull thing. I got it from my other channel because, you know, bull market, crypto kind of thing, but it's, you know, like a technical bull. That's the thinking behind it anyway. I always thought it'd be cool to scan this and sell it as a 3D print, but there's a lot of kind of detail in there. But I think this would be a really cool model. So this is like my sample, but the scans I was getting on Scaniverse and Polycam, they're just not picking it up. But I wanted to, you know, try it first before going out and spending money on a 3D scanner. But I mean, hell, at this rate, YouTube's paying enough, I might be able to swing it. Also, a lot of you guys chiming in with your comments. Again, appreciate it greatly. A few of you here and there have asking, like, you know, well, what about the business side of things? Because, you know, again, I get it. Like, you know, it's just me printing weird art stuff all day. Where's the whole business side of things? All the art stuff I print, I get it up on Etsy, and I totally get it. Like, I'm doing a lot of weird stuff that doesn't kind of fit in line. Not a lot of functional prints, a lot of art prints and stuff like that. Honestly, and you know, again, this is just exhibition. I'm just kind of seeing things and putting them. I'm like, I can do that. I'll put it up. I'm kind of at like the buffet. You know, I'm at Bacchanal. I'm at the buffet of ideas, I guess. And I'm just kind of going down the line, and it's like, you know, I'll try a little of that art print. I'll try a little of that functional print, and just loading up my plate and trying a bunch of different things to kind of see what sticks. So that's where I'm coming at for it. I don't make virtually any sales currently. Back when crypto mining stuff was hot a couple months ago, I was selling a lot of the shrouds, a lot of the CPU mining stands. You know, that was hot, but right now, crypto mining's not so great right now, so I'm not really selling any of those. You know, I get sales here and there, like I did a Hornet Nest the other day, a couple of shrouds for like a graphics card. Those come through. A lot of people favoriting and a lot of people adding the big guns to their cart. So that gives me a lot of like encouragement that like there's interest there. And that's kind of why I'm exploring some of the other models. So again, you know, the whole business thing is kind of, I'm not saying, obviously I'm not saying like, you know, I'm just taking it, you know, laissez-faire here, but I'm trying to kind of suss out what's really working, because I could say all day, like, well, just, you know, just print a functional print that, you know, people need as like a tool. Right? Okay, what do I do? Well, I don't know, just figure it out. Like, yeah, there it is. So again, I understand that, and I would love to find a functional print, but it's really just kind of through this process that something should crop up or may crop up, and I'll certainly, you know, capitalize on it. Because again, I'm at the buffet. If they put out a fresh bowl of orange chicken and it's down from the meatloaf, I'm getting the meatloaf and the orange chicken. Another comment here too, someone asking, what has been your profitability experience? Obviously there is expense in printers and the filament, there's learning and wasted filament, but over the last few months, would you say you are broke even, still behind, or made 2, 3, 4x of what you put into this? Well, yeah, I would say I'm behind. I mean, I've not profited. No, I'm not in the black on this, certainly. Although with the printers I have and the stuff I have, it's not too, I mean, again, it's all relative. So, you know, if you're just you're considering this as a side hustle, this is not me being instructional, but if you're considering this as a side hustle, there are worse things that you could try to get into, more expensive things you could try to get into. Overall, the filament is basically cheap. Now, I've burned through a lot of filament, and it does add up, no doubt. And printers can be expensive, but overall, in the grand scheme of things, of what, you know, potentially, I don't consider it to be a substantial amount of money. You know, I'll add it up, it's, you know, thousands of dollars. But overall, you know, I've made some sales. I would say that probably, you know, again, because the filament's so cheap, and it's not like you know, there's a lot of like monthly burn costs or anything, you know, so it could be worse. I'm not profitable, no. I hope to get that way, and, you know, I hope to suss out what the best path or the best sort of setup is. You know, maybe it isn't having a giant warehouse full of printers. I'd certainly like it to be that, but maybe there's, you know, better profit potential in printing art prints that requires some post-production, and it's just a nice little supplement. I don't know that yet. Again, this is just the journey. So someone else was asking too how I pack and ship. So I buy all my boxes from Uline, and that's because my company buys from Uline, and that's where I've bought from for over 10 years. Uline is expensive. You can get cheaper boxes and packing tape and stuff like that from other places, but Uline is super convenient because they have everything listed on the site. It's B2B only, and it shows up the next day. And you know, if you need 10,000 boxes, you'll get it the next day. If you need a 12-foot industrial 5,000 pound per shelf storage rack, you order that, you'll get it the next day. So Uline's super convenient. You can get exactly what you need. So like when I'm, you know, these 3D prints, I kind of know what size box I need. I just order it from Uline, and the boxes are, yeah, you could buy them somewhere else for and maybe save a few pennies, but for me personally, it's just, I'm just gonna get what I need. All right, so I've droned on enough. This is the point in the video where I kick it over to my future self tomorrow morning to see how this all worked out. It is not the next morning, but everything's chooching away. The next morning video will be in about 12 hours, but wanted to capture everything while all the printers are humming along, so it looks like I'm actually doing something. Quick recap. Drum section of the Colt Python. Character model based thing. We don't talk about those. We got the grip section of the Colt Python, some of those rolling trays. We've got lamp. So a thing to go on the lamp as a test. I talked about that in yesterday's video or today's, I'm not sure. I do too many videos, I'm losing track. So that's for the lamp. Character model thing, we don't talk about that. Character model thing, we don't talk about that. And I got all this filament to put away. I got a rack to put over there to kind of move some things around. So that's the midday. So that's the midday update. I'm gonna kick it over to my future self right now. What is up, guys? It is the next morning, the witching hour, checking in on what kind of went down here. Now I got up a few hours ago, but everything had ran out of filament, so everything's still printing. Unfortunately, we don't have anything complete and off the printer, but we can check on the status. Over here on the Cobra for the drum for the Colt Python character model thing. It's a big box. Over here we had on Cobra 2 again. This is the one that kept lifting over the past couple videos with those rolling trays. I didn't wash it with Dawn dish soap, but I did spray the living daylights out of it. Just I soaked it in 99% alcohol, wiped it down really good. The bed adhesion isn't the issue, but it's this lifting off of, like furling and curling off of the supports. So this model, it has like this gradual taper here, and it's, you know, supposed to lay on top of these supports just kind of gradually, but kind of lifting up here. And that's, I left it on the bed so we could look at it together as a family. Kind of odd. I've not seen that before, and so it makes me wonder whether or not the if bed adhesion was an issue, but it's instead an issue with the nozzle, the extruder, the heat of the extruder. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to peel this off, and I'm going to run a PID. Let me know if you think that's a good idea in the comments, because if it's some kind of problem with the heat, and also here, I kind of pulled away from the bed a little bit there, so yeah, maybe it's inconsistent heating in the nozzle as it moves along, because the footprint of this model isn't very large. Someone was saying like maybe it was, you know, the lag time, the travel time between the far end of the bed and where it's coming from, like the plastic's too cool, causing it to, like, you know, kind of shrink, contract a little bit. But this model's pretty small, and for it to start peeling up like that, you could see like where it contacts the supports, it started peeling up, and then the print head would just catch it a little bit every time and kind of gradually pull up on it. So gonna probably just run through, do a PID calculation, start this again because this is not a lot of filament, and then yeah, just try it again from there. My genius idea to burn up my partial spools with these rolling trays. I'm actually starting to run out of partial spools, so the idea works, but this isn't the greatest color combination. Not very sexy. You've got like an offensive green, a beige, and now like a basic blue, and that won't even take it to the house. I'll have to finish it out with something else. Character model down here, it's been nothing but problems out of this P1P, but not really the printer as much as the AMS. It's this turquoise filament.
every time the AMS winds, it spaghettis up inside of it. So I think maybe in the future, printing those plastic rings that go on the cardboard spools, just to give it like I don't know why it keeps doing that. When it back winds, it furls out. No, I took a length of filament off the spool and cut it just in case it was like if the filament was twisted, if that was causing it to like snap and pull out around here. So I pulled off a bit, cut it, and then wound it back up just to make sure it was as linear as possible. And here on the Sobol, these are for character models. This is you know, I guess it doesn't really matter. I could show this, but this came out pretty good. This is a 0.2 layer height. This is like a mechanical robot arm thing. The detail's pretty good. I mean, for a 0.18 layer height, you know, a little like not as great on the bottom, but I don't have aggressive support settings. Without looking at the where the supports would go, the surface finish is actually, for 0.18, that's pretty good. And finally, for the last thing, a lot of people saying that the lamp idea was kind of good. A lot of encouraging comments there about the lamp. So again, the idea being is I buy these really super cheap desktop lamps on Amazon. They're just screw in. They're rechargeable LED, and it's like a USB-C port in here. I hate I love the current world and everything, but one thing I really don't like about the modern world is like everything's LED, everything's like rechargeable battery. I don't like having to think that something's gonna have to recharge. I get battery anxiety around it, so it's like I like leaving things plugged in because it's one less thing to remember if you have to plug it in and charge it. But hey, it was cheap. So this is the lamp. Pretty simple sort of thing. The idea being is I print something with a hole in it and then I slide it on there. And so my first thing was this little Colt Python. Just printed it all in one go and put some primitives on the inside to keep everything solid, and then I printed a hole that still has supports on the inside of it. Of course, you really should like take a look at these things before you start recording that. But then that would break the realism, and you guys are here for the realism, right? So let's see if it fits. Hey, it fits. My measurements, can I, without shattering the model? Can I do it without shattering the model? That was cool. There we go. Look. It's kind of like that's just what I did with my wife on our wedding night. Hey, I'm gonna call this a GLAMP. You get it? It's a gun lamp. GLAMP. Oh man, you know, it's simple, but for people who really like guns, you know, maybe, right? So I was really kind of concerned with the angle because I didn't want this hole to kind of like cause anything to like fall off or not be supported. And again, I just printed this in black, and this is big enough to where I could put it on the bamboo and print it in multicolor. But for the angle, I kind of didn't want it to just go straight up and down, because if I did it straight up and down, the center point is like right here, right through the trigger. And so that would cut through the trigger, because if I moved it off, you'd have too much of the gun like coming off of one side. It wouldn't kind of look right. And I was like, initial thought was like, yeah, just send it straight down the barrel, but then you've got like the big handle sticking out to one side. So I wanted to kind of center it up a little bit more, but not perfectly center, just to kind of give it some, you know, it's like aesthetically pleasing yet somewhat disturbing. It kind of, you know, irks the OCD in people. Like, you know, why isn't that perfectly symmetrical? And it makes them want to look at it and enjoy it. That's the unhinged thinking anyway. Let me know what you think in the comments below. The GLAMP by Technical Stinkers. So that's the 3D update for today. Some other things I was thinking about working on is, since I'm doing like a daily vlog every day and I'm getting a lot of new subscribers, again, welcome. Yesterday's videos brought in about 200 alone just from that video. I was thinking maybe doing a weekly kind of companion thing, like a captain's log supplemental sort of thing, just where I kind of go through the past week's events and occurrences, wins, losses, lessons, things like that, and offer some additional exposition for those people who are new to the channel. Maybe devote that video to answering a lot of the comments, you know, kind of the important comments like I did in the earlier part of this video, and just kind of a recap week to week, in addition to the vlog. So it's kind of a spice it up a little bit, and, you know, maybe a chance for people to for me to engage with people a little bit more via the comments through a sort of video format. So considering doing some other kind of talking head videos and things. Additionally, I've got two new, not want to say sponsors, but two new pieces of equipment coming in, courtesy of vendors who have found the channel. So that wouldn't be possible at all without you guys viewing the videos and feeding the algorithm and allowing those people to find me. So I'm going to take a look at those and kind of feature them sort of loosely throughout the video. Again, when I get free stuff from sponsors, I'll just say very candidly whether or not I got money for it, whether I got the device for free. I usually try to push these people into giving me something extra that I can just give away, or maybe the device, if I don't really have a purpose for it, then I'll just give it away as well, because, you know, that's how you generate more growth, and that's ultimately what I'm after. So again, let me know what you think about all these things in the comments below, like what you'd like to see. Be sure to like the video because it's the nice thing to do, and of course, subscribe to the channel for more content like this. I'm the Technicals. See you next time.